Truth Unveiled here, keeping you updated with the latest. And today we're going to be talking about Sam's Club and Walmart because Walmart just announced that Sam's Club is abruptly closing locations nationwide, and they're closing up to 50 locations with an additional dozen or so to become quote unquote fulfillment centers. And mind you, this is nationwide and affecting up to Sam's Club franchises, 10% of them overall. What are they really getting ready for? Now, first, we're going to go over Walmart and Sam's Club and all the store closings because it's not just Sam's Club that's closing their stores in record numbers, but then also we're going to tell you the real agenda and go over more secret things when it comes to what FEMA and the agenda behind all this. Now, I'm here at Walmart's press release page that was released yesterday that says Sam's Club shares changes to club fee, 63 facilities impacted up to 12 to convert to what they call e-commerce facilities. But what are they really converting to? But it says here, Sam's Club, a division of Walmart Stores Incorporated, today announced changes to the business unit's U.S. real estate portfolio with the closure of 63 clubs around the country, and we're going to be showing you a map of those places in a moment to come. The company will convert up to 12 of the impacted clubs to e-commerce fulfillment centers. What does that sound like? In a move that will speed delivery of online orders with the balance of the facilities closing over the next few weeks. That's what they want you to believe. But then it says currently Walmart and Sam's Club operate more than 5,400 locations across the U.S. After the actions announced today, the company will have 597 clubs. The action was taken after a thorough performance review. Quote, transforming our business means managing our real estate portfolio, and Walmart needs a strong fleet of Sam's Club that are fit for the future, said the CEO and president of Sam's Club. We know this is difficult news for our associates, and we are working to place as many of them as possible at nearby locations. Our focus today has been on those associates in their communities and communicating with them. Then they say here that the first of these converted e-commerce fulfillment centers will be located in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, CNN reported here that of the 63 stores that are shutting down, that 10 of them will be converted into fulfillment centers. But as we read in the press release, it's actually going to be 12 of them. And we're going to show you why this is so important indeed. Because if you don't think your government is planning for something, if you don't think that Walmart and Sam's Club are in cahoots with the New World Order getting ready for the police state in America, it's time to think again. But now we're here at CNBC, and the reason we're here is because this gives you a map of where Walmart is closing more than 60 Sam's Club stores. Now pay close attention to this map right here. As you can see, two of them will be closing right here in Alaska. But if we zoom in just a little bit, as we see right here, we're going to go from west to east. There are two that are supposed to be closing, a few of them in Washington, maybe up to three. If we go down, we see a few that are closing in California and Sacramento, around the Los Angeles area, about three or so that are closing in Arizona. But then if we keep going, there are a lot closing in the Chicagoland area. Very interesting and suspicious indeed, considering how many that are actually closing. And then, of course, the one we just read in Memphis, Tennessee, that's going to become a fulfillment center. But then look at all of this and notice here, too, how a lot of these are on the East Coast. And note how they're around a ton of locations and populations where there are a ton of people. And there aren't that many that are in these areas, such as the Plains areas or the Rocky Mountains. But I'm going to show you how FEMA is actually involved when it comes to these areas and land contracts also, because you're going to see how it all relates in just a moment to come. But pay close attention to this in the more populated areas, even in Florida too, in Tampa and Fern Park, and also towards the south in places such as Louisiana and the Houston, Texas area also, which is the fourth largest city in America. Pay careful attention. Why are all these stores closing in record numbers like this? We have to think about these things, and that's the question that we should always be thinking about, is the why. What is all of this leading up to? Because here I am at CNN where it says 2017 just made the all-time record for store closings. Now, the actual report tells us that more store closings have been announced in 2017 than any other year on record. It says retailers have announced plans to shutter more than 6,700 stores in the U.S., which beats the previous all-time record high of 6,163 store closings, which hit in 2008 amid the financial meltdown, according to CS. And some of these stores that are closing include Kmart, Sears, JCPenney, Gap, Banana Republic, a lot of clothing stores. I wonder why this is the case, along with Staples and a ton others. But notice how more stores have closed in 2017 than in 2008, when there was the financial collapse and the economic meltdown that occurred that year. Very interesting and suspicious indeed, because we know your government is getting prepared for an economic collapse, and already there are more store closings now than there were during the economic collapse. But I thought everything was all right according to your government. I thought everything was all right according to the sleeping public. It doesn't look like it. And if you really think too, that store closings on such a record level like this is also normal and oh, nothing to it, nothing to see here, it's also time to think again, because this also says from a report last week that 64 Kmart and 39 Sears stores have announced their closings in early 2018. And mind you, this is just early 2018, and there's a list of other stores that were announced that are closing in 2018 also. But again, the question we need to be thinking about, better yet, is why are these stores closing, but what are they converting these stores into? What are they converting these abandoned malls into? What are they really getting ready for is the better question. And just to refresh your memory and recollection, I'm going to show you some footage back in September of 2017 of Hurricane Harvey, and also predictive programming where FEMA and Walmart are involved.
Jake, who is homeless. Jake, you've found yourself some shelter here. Why are you outside during this entire hurricane?
Well, I chose not to go inside yesterday because the Salvation Army and Russian Winds homeless shelter, where they were accepting people, were caught killing everybody that was in there. Were caught killing everybody that was in there. Were caught killing everybody that was in there.
And mind you, the first video that I showed you has been deleted on social media platforms such as Facebook, Controlled Opposition. But now I'm even going to show you an ABC clip that even proves, and they literally even tell you, that Walmart is placing people into truckloads and carrying them away.
Went back underneath the bridge and they were loading up with as many people. It's got to be dozens of people in the back of that thing. They take them to a nearby Walmart. 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 And then the Walmart is where, I guess, metro buses or school buses will take them to the shelter. And then the Walmart is where, I guess, metro buses or school buses will take them to the shelter. And then the Walmart is where, I guess, metro buses or school buses will take them to the shelter. The question is, what shelter are they taking them to? Because I heard Tom say GRB is overcrowded and or not overcrowded, but at the capacity they had planned for. So I think I certainly have that question. I don't know if we've answered it.
And they really have nowhere to go. At least they have a system where they're taking them to a Walmart where they can be inside and wait and figure out what comes next. At least they have a system where they're taking them to a Walmart where they can be inside and wait and figure out what comes next.
The people I talked to, all, with the exception of one, they all were eager to go wherever the truck would take them. Interestingly enough, Coast Guard helicopters and the National Guard helicopters had pulled away. I hear one. There's no way we can see it. It's too far off, but I heard it pass over. The military helicopter.
In Season 1, Episode 8, in an episode called Road Kansas, Jericho even depicts and talks about Walmart and seems to allude to Walmart FEMA camps, which also come after the event and aftermath of an EMP. Has your government been preparing for all of these things, especially with all the drills going on? And are they literally telling you the truth right in front of your face? Let's find out.
I didn't know Roker ever had a SWAT team. They don't. These guys aren't cops. They're government contractors. Ravenwood. What are mercenaries doing in Kansas? Same thing they've been doing in Iraq and New Orleans. The military's been stretched so thin the past few years, mercenaries became a commodity. What are you doing in Kansas?
Not enough National Guard. Homeland Security hired us. Brought us in to protect the governor of Nebraska.
Wait, the governor's alive?
Don't know. They brought us over here to help FEMA evacuate Rogue River.
Where to?
FEMA set up a tent city. Walmart parking lot. A few miles north of here.
Now, for those of us who are awake, alert, and aware of the world around us, we know darn well that this is another step that the Illuminati elite are taking to do what? Convert the Sam's Club and Walmart stores into FEMA camps like they've been doing with all these other stores and abandoned malls and abandoned railways and abandoned buildings all over the nation. And after this video, Snopes will probably release an article stating that Sam's Club closings converting into FEMA camps is just another hoax and fraud like they always do in order to attempt to pacify the sheeple, even though we know better than this. Now, I've talked about this also in my Walmart's video that was done about 2 years ago. What you're looking at right now has to do with deep underground military bases, which is a military program that your military has been conspiring with the government, with the elite who are conspiring with your fallen ones to bring about the New World Order. And they have underground bunkers that are ready to go, along with underground cities that are underneath our feet, even as we speak right now. These cities are fully operational, fully functional, and the reason that they're operational is because when stuff starts hitting the fan, government transport will then transport others to these Walmarts and Sam's Club, and then they will have to go underground to be transported to FEMA camps, just as you saw with the ABC report with who? Detainees being transported due to a storm, due to a hurricane, or due to a national emergency, internment and resettlement. That's the goal, that's the plan. And Hurricane Harvey, along with Hurricane Irma, were just major tests. And sadly, this is no conspiracy theory, this is conspiracy truth because there's even government documentation to prove this. And what you're actually looking at right now is the proof itself, because here we are at an FBI document also entitled Project 908. And this comes from the National Program Office, which was established to secure continuity of government come a national disaster. And I've talked about this in previous videos plenty of times, but there was also a 1994 New York Times article that was released that also talked about and reported the doomsday government being established, so to speak, and a CNN special that was done on this that we also talked about and went over in previous videos. Now, this document right here is 908 pages long, but it talks about government's contractual locations to be used nationwide and how your government and alphabet soup are secretly using and establishing and securing government contractual locations all across the country, even as early as the 1980s, if not earlier than that. Now, again, this document is 908 pages long. We're not going to go over all of it, but right now we're on page 43 of the document because, again, the question you need to be thinking about is why does your government need to contract all of these lands? And it's not just your government, it's your celebrities who are doing it too. And you're going to see that in a report later on. Are they preparing for FEMA camps? Is all this in preparation for the FEMA camps? Let's find out, because here we are on page 43 of this document, and as you can see, it's from the director of the FBI, dated back in 1985, and it says right here, this communication is classified. The caption project relates to the FBI's responsibility to establish emergency communication centers throughout the U.S. in conjunction with other federal law enforcement and intelligence agencies with similar missions. Who? Your alphabet soups like your DoD, Department of Defense, the same organization that's funding these FEMA camps courtesy National Defense Authorization Acts, along with other alphabet soups also. The FBI, which is the main one involved, is engaged in identifying commercial and other private facilities that can be utilized as regional communication sites in the event that existing federal communication facilities are destroyed or rendered inoperable as a result of natural disasters or national emergency. Why would your FBI even put this here to begin with? Do they know something that you don't know? Are they preparing for these things ahead of time, and have they been preparing for this for well over 30 years? Well, let's find out, because if you keep going on the document, they even tell you some of the locations that they're looking to find contracts for, and it says it right here where it says the following facilities have been tentatively selected as potential relocation sites. Your office should confirm the name and address of the facility, discreetly identify the owner and or site manager with identifying personal data, and conduct checks. And who else is involved? Your Department of Justice, the DOJ. Oh my goodness, they're all involved on such a scheme. Now again, we're not going to go over all this document. I will leave it in the description box below under documents so you can take a look at it, but you're going to see it's more than just this. But as you can see right here, some of the places that they list has to do with places such as industrial parks in Georgia, as you can see right here, Parks Mill. Pay close attention and be very aware. And note how they're looking for industrial areas. Note how they're looking for park mills. Note how they're looking for abandoned places, because they know that the railroads and the railways are going to be used and converted to bring people, or should I say bring detainees, to these FEMA camps. That's why all of these places have to do with industrial areas. See industrial park here. You see the lawn products. You see another industrial area over here too. If we keep going, you see fashion apparel right here, and the list keeps going on of all of these different locations. Now on page 46 right here, it lists another one where your FBI is engaged in identifying commercial and other private facilities that can be utilized as regional communication sites in the event that existing federal communication facilities are destroyed or rendered inoperable as a result of natural disasters or national emergencies. And this is dated as of 1985 also to Denver now. But as you can see right here, now we're on page 47. Here are some more places that they list here. You see storage facility, see Pepsi right here. Are your other companies involved too? Oh, of course they are. And later on in this video, I'm also going to show you how Kellogg's is involved too, and how many of these companies such as Kellogg's and Pepsi, what are they doing? They have secret buildings and secret facilities that are located all across the country where they're currently housing and currently have in place UN vehicles and UN tanks, which is why you've been seeing them all over the place. Notice how they have electric utilities, other different companies that are also involved near plants, near abandoned places. As you can see right here, energy centers, more power plants. I'm telling you, it's in strategic locations, and they've been doing this for how long? Do you think they're just doing this for no reason? No, they're doing this because they know darn well what's about to take place. You see other places here, another plant right there. You see springs right here. You see a motel right here. These are just listings and giving you an idea of where this is. And keep going towards the 50s. Now we're on page 52. They also list the same things, more industrial parks. This just gives you a better idea of what your government is up to. But we cannot forget how your celebrities are involved on this scheme too, because this has also been talked about before, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention when it first came to me. But here it says here that pioneer woman, so-called, Ree Drummond, is revealed as the 23rd largest landowner in the U.S. with 433,000 acres, and note the numbers 33 right there. And the government paid the family 23.9 million in rent over the past decade. Did you see that? Government and being involved with the government. It says the family cattle ranch has earned them the 23rd spot on the list of the 100 largest landowners in the U.S. And then it says right here in the fourth bullet point that the family has also made what, $24 million in the past decade they renting land to who? The U.S. government? Oh my goodness, what are they renting land for? And what will this land be converted into? And if you just think it's only here and that it's only Ree Drummond, oh no, it's all those other celebrities who are doing the exact same thing. And where is this at? Someplace in Oklahoma. And like we said, looking at the different maps earlier ago of the Sam's Club closings, we know that in rural places and even in the Rockies, they all have that land ready to go, cultivated by your government to be used for FEMA camps. And as we also talked about too, how these places already have the cell towers ready to go for what? Mind control 5G beast technology. But again, just as you even saw with the ABC report, who else is involved? These airports are involved also. And how? Because I'm going to show you this now. When you take a look at this runway, a runway in America, actually, you notice something very interesting and suspicious indeed about it. And what is it? Well, this airport does not have any numbers towards the end of it, like most other airports do. I wonder why that's the case. Why is that so important? Because when you take a look at conventional airports, so the busier airports, you start to notice that their runways do have numbers at the end of them. See how this airport in JFK in New York has a number right here? You can see it right here at this airport, but the one we just looked at does not. Could they be secretly conspiring to do something with these abandoned airports also, and also having to do with contractual land that your government is taking up in rural places and that your celebrities are also funding? Even runways such as this one has numbers, but the one we looked at earlier does not. Why have there been reported government facilities even reported in the middle of nowhere, such as rural towns? People spotting what looks to be FEMA trains and abandoned railways and close to railroad tracks in the middle of nowhere. What is all of this really leading up to? And then as we also mentioned earlier in the video regarding certain companies, your mainstream companies such as Kellogg's and all these other ones, how there are UN armored vehicles that are stored under some of these company warehouses, and many people don't even know it. Most people have no idea that this stuff is going on right under their noses. But that's why we're here to expose it, because it was reported that a Kellogg building in Maryland is housing UN armored vehicles, and we've done plenty of videos of UN military tanks being seen all over the place in America. We've also talked about too on this channel how FedEx, UPS, USPS, and all these other government services, how they're sneaking in refugees, courtesy George Soros and the Zionists at the top, how they're doing all of this stuff, and how they're secretly getting America ready for these FEMA camps along with your military. And we've gone over countless military documents, such as the Army Civilian Inmate Labor Program, that's also getting ready and preparing for the same thing. But here's a closer view of the U.S. General Services Administration wing of the building that shows armored military vehicles. It's odd that a serial manufacturer and the U.S. government share the same roof. This looks very serial indeed. Could that explain why FEMA and your government are preparing like never before for national exercise programs and holding and hosting these things because they know they're actually preparing for Operation Depopulation? Could that explain all this? Because here we're at FEMA's website that says the national preparedness goal calls for a secure and resilient nation with the capabilities required across the whole community to prevent, protect against, mitigate, respond to, and recover from the threats and hazards that pose the greater risk. And to achieve that goal, the National Preparedness System organizes actions to build, sustain, and deliver the core capabilities in greatest need of sustainment and improvement. FEMA also released a 49-page document that says National Exercise Program Introduction to the 2017 through the 2018 cycle, that talks about the program and how they're also getting ready for what? The continuity of government shutdown. Why are they so quaint about preparing the nation for these things? Why are they so quaint about getting the nation ready for all of these disasters and hazards, just like they did with Cascadia Rising back in 2016, preparing for a 9.2 earthquake on the West Coast? Why all of these things going on? Why all of this preparation ahead of time? Not to mention this 98-page report that was released on FEMA's website from the Homeland Security Council as of the summer of 2007 that talks about and chronicles the National Continuity Policy Implementation Plan, or the NCPIP. Now, we're not going to go over all of it, but I find it interesting where they mention the 8 national essential functions. What does all of this really mean, and what do these keywords and code words mean? Because we know that's how the elite Illuminati, that's how they do things, through messaging, through code words. And we've talked about also that when they say number 5, protecting against threats to the homeland and bringing the justice perpetrators of crimes or attacks against the U.S. or its people, property, or interests, we know that's talking about who? Domestic terrorists, anyone who does not agree with the government and the New World Order, anyone who's awake, alert, and aware to their devices and schemes. That's exactly who they are talking about, and we've gone over that government documentation too, like Project Megiddo from your FBI also, and countless others that talk about how your government is getting ready for what? Domestic terrorists, dissidents, and the list goes on, not to mention the unconstitutional executive orders where everything belongs to your government and your government has control of you, your children, and pretty much everything, including your house, come the national emergency, come the economic collapse, come the new world order that's even at the door. Please seek YAHUAH and his true son YAHUSHA, because as you see, all of these things are right here at the door, right in front of us, but thankfully with YAHUAH and his true son YAHUSHA, we are protected and do not have to fear. This is Truth Unveiled here, saying shalom.